in this video we're going to talk about graphing absolute value equations. So let's do some definitions. Absolute value equation is an equation whose graph is a V-shaped graph that points upward or downward. The basic function rule of absolute value is y equals the absolute value of x. A translation, we've talked about these, is a shift of a graph horizontally or vertically, so either up and down or left and right, or it can be both. Very important concept number one. A translation results in a graph the same shape and size but in a different position. So a translation is not going to change the shape, but it will change the position. Alright, vertical translations. The graph y equals absolute value of x plus k is a translation of y equals the absolute value of x. Let k be a positive number. Then, the y equals absolute value of x plus k translates y equals absolute value of x up k units. So in other words, this k is causing our original graph to just go up, while y equals absolute value of k minus k will translate the graph y equals absolute value of k down k units. So the k takes it down. So your graph y equals absolute value of x either goes up based on a plus k or down based on a minus k. Here's some examples. Y equals absolute value of x minus 1. So the black represents our original shape or our pre-image, just y equals absolute value of x. Now the red represents the y equals absolute value of x minus 1. Notice that it's still a v, all I've done is move it down 1 unit. I didn't go left or right because that's all my graph or my equation told me to do. Here's another one, y equals absolute value of x plus 4. Again, the black graph shows my original or my pre-image, and now my image is this red one that I simply shifted up 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. So this value out here, which we call k, represents whether it goes up or down, and you follow whether it's plus or minus. Okay, so let's write an absolute value equation of a vertical translation, y equals absolute value of x. So the first one's done for you. If I tell you to go 6 units down, then your new equation is simply absolute value of x minus 6. What if I tell you to go 6 units or 10 units up? Well, up means we're going to add. So your new equation would be y equals absolute value of x. We're going up, so plus 10. Okay, look at this one. 2 units up. Up tells you plus. So y equals absolute value of x plus 2. Okay, let's do one more. 4 units down. Down tells us minus. So we have y equals absolute value of x minus 2. Okay, so when we're talking about a vertical translation, plus means up, minus means down. Why do I keep pointing that out? Because now we're going to talk about horizontal translations. Look at the difference between horizontal and a vertical. When we're talking about horizontal translation, our y equals absolute value of x plus h is inside of our absolute value sign. So this time we have that plus h inside. This, for a positive h, translate the graph y equals absolute value of x by h units to the left. So even though it's a plus, we're going in the negative direction. Consequently, if it's a minus h, it translates it to the right. So if you are inside of the absolute value signs, you go the opposite of the direction you think you should. Not inside absolute value signs, you go up and down just like you think you would. But when it is inside, and eventually you'll learn this about parentheses, you go the opposite of the direction you want to. So let's look at an example. Y equals absolute value of x plus 2. So this plus tells us we're going to shift left 2 units. So the blue represents my pre-image, and I'm going to shift it over 2 places to the left. 1, 2. Because it's a plus, and inside the absolute value, I went left. Okay? Now on this one, I have absolute value of x minus 2. Well, this is a minus, and it's inside the absolute value, So I'm going 2 units to the right. Notice the blue represents my pre-image, the red represents my image. Let's write some examples of this. Okay, here's my parent equation. So let's say 6 units to the left, and we are doing horizontal translation. So we're going to do y equals absolute value x. We're going left, so we would want to say plus 6. Remember, opposite of what you anticipate. What makes us go to the right? If we want to go right, put it inside of here. Oop, crazy moment. Okay. When it's inside, you write opposites. What if we want to go 3 units to the right? Y equals absolute value of x. We're going right minus 3. Okay, what about here? 5 units left. Okay, so keep in mind, when it's a horizontal translation, everything goes inside of the absolute value bar. If you want to go left, you make it be plus. If you want to go right, you make it be minus. Okay, so what if we put them both together? What if we want to write an equation for a translation that both goes up and down and left and right? You have to remember all your rules. You have to remember to put your plus or minus inside the absolute value bars, and you have to remember to put a plus or minus on the outside. So let's put everything together. So for the first one, we just want to write a translation that goes up 3 units. Well, and this is the opposite of the absolute value, which means it looks like this. So this is just going to be opposite absolute value of x. We're going up 3 units. So it simply looks like this. We want it to go up, so remember we leave it on the outside of the absolute value. Okay, what about 2? It needs to go down 2 units and 1 to the left. So we're going to say y equals the opposite of the absolute value of x. We want to go 1 left, so we say plus 1. All that stays inside, but let's not forget we're going down 2 units. Okay, so let's do one more. We want to go down 3 and 4 to the right. Opposite of the absolute value of x minus 4, that forces us to the right, close your absolute value, and then minus 3. Okay, so the important thing you need to come away from here is if it's up or down, it's on the outside of these absolute value bars, and plus means up, minus means down. If it's left or right, it's inside the absolute value bars. Minus means right, plus means left, which is the opposite of the way you think, which is what makes absolute value equations so tricky.